Hey, family, welcome to episode 24 of my Enrolled Agent Career. In tonight's episode, I have a very special guest from Georgia by way of New York who is going to be joining us to share about her journey as an enrolled agent. But even before that, because now she's been in the tax industry for 30 plus years. So it is my privilege as your host tonight. My name is Timalyn Bowens, and I'm America's favorite EA. I own Bowens Tax Solutions, which is a virtual firm based in Louisville, Kentucky, and we specialize in helping people resolve their IRS tax issues. I'm bringing on other EAs so that you know that there is more than one road to travel when it comes to being an excellent EA. So, without any further ado, I want to bring on tonight's guest, Mrs. Yvette D.
Hey everybody, hey.
Hey, Yvette. Now, for those of us that know Yvette, we know that that little shy, hey, everybody, hey, isn't you. We know the real you's about to come out in a minute, though. But before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me on tonight's episode. I've been trying to get you since before the podcast launched to be on here. So it's definitely my privilege and honor to have you.
Oh, it's my honor to be here, and I thank you so much for the opportunity to allow me to share.
Yes, ma'am. I have appreciated your gift of genuine encouragement. You know, with the internet, technology is great till it's not. And then we can build networks and communities. But it's different when you have people that do more than like a post, but they check in to say, hey, I see you working. Keep doing it. I saw you're having an event. How can I support and encourage you? And I want to tell you all this. Yvette, in her career as an EA, if we're looking at 12-month calendar years, has made way more money than me. Okay. But this past year, I hosted my first enrolled agent firm boot camp in Louisville, Kentucky. And Yvette was one of the first people to reach out to say, hey, I just saw you're doing this. How can I support you? So I'm thinking, she's going to like the post, share the post. Yvette bought a ticket herself, put her money where her mouth was, kept me hyped up, energized the whole time she was here, but then also told other people about it. And again, I appreciate you supporting me there. I appreciate you supporting me and the listeners because I know you're going to drop some gems on this episode tonight as well.
I will. I'll be ready. I don't know when the gym's gonna come, but it's gonna something's gonna come because
It's
you
going
know
to
me. I'm always trying to make people. I want people to know they can be their best them. Sometimes the most thing is they're in their own way.
look, 100% agree. So, you and I, we find talking to each other easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the episode portion so we don't just make this a sister girl chit chat. So for you, when did you first learn about the EA designation and what encouraged you to sit for the EA exam?
Okay, so that is it's a long story, but I'm gonna give the short version. I learned about being an EA in 1993 because I've been doing taxes since 1989. But I was told you don't need that. You're going to learn everything you need to know about taxes. And I did. I mean, I really did know everything about taxes. And then the the CPA I was working for, he was signing off on most of the things. So this is why he was saying I did not need to become an EA. But that was just him and his self-serving because I figured that he think if I became an EA, I would have learned I could have jump shipped on him long that like in a minute. But what he was doing as far as tax resolution, we was not doing the right things. We were
Mhm.
doing things. I won't even mention the processes we were using because I do not want no one to hear what I say, then start doing it now in 2025. But we were representing clients and it wasn't done the correct way. So I was already doing tax resolution. So I was like, well, since I'm coming to EA, but when I'm already doing all of the things. But when I decided I wanted to go full time in my business, and that was in 18, I was like, I'm going full time. I accomplished the goals that I wanted to do, being a controller of a $20 million budget, and the company was not, they were horrible. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I've been preparing taxes and then started my own company in '06, in 2006. So I decided if I was going to have my own company, I need to become an EA. So I did that in 2020. There was nothing else going on. So yeah, I went and took all three parts of the exam. I took the first part in February. I think I took three first. Then I took two in June and part one in July and completed it. And then just said, okay, I know I'm an EA. I got all the highest credential I can have to represent people as a tax practitioner. And I'm gonna go forth and be great.
Well, kudos to you for getting anything like that done during 2020. Because, yeah, those last two parts, we were definitely in the middle of shutdown. Um, there are a couple of things I want to follow up on there, but some of the listeners haven't passed the EA exam yet. And I know because you just mentioned getting in there, getting it done February, June, July, people are going to say, what study material did she use? So, what did you use to study for the exam?
I use fast forward and it was great. Okay, so I know I'm gonna be transparent. I will be 55 January of next year. I know it's great over here. But I am a learner of, we were taught through writing and memorization. So literally that has a bank of questions. And if you could literally memorize the questions, you can do well on the exam. I really fully believe that an EA can pass the exam better when they're not having all this other tax knowledge in their head and they're using the material, because
Mhm.
some of these questions will have you second guessing based on what you know and have been doing in your practice, as opposed to what you were supposed to know from the material. So if you study the questions, you could really do well on the exam. So I would say, for example, part three, which is ethics and is mostly all about penalties. If you study all the questions and know all the penalties and know all the years, you'll do well. So I just tell people, I use fast forward. I did three first. I was supposed to do one and then two, but the shutdown came and we had to take part two online. So we did
Uh,
that, and then part one became available because Atlanta never really closed. Like we
y'all
never,
sure didn't.
COVID was never hit. Like Georgia and Florida was the two places there was no COVID. We just operated with mask on. That was it. So that's how it happened. But I tell people, take three first, because I feel they take three, it boosts their confidence. Part one is something they should already know. And then two is business taxes. A lot of them don't know a lot about corporate returns, business basis, things of that nature. So you need a little time to study. That's all. And they could pass the exam and become an EA. Even me, part of the reason why I didn't take the exam, because I'm not a good test taker. I never felt I was a good test taker. So, and I didn't want to fail. Like I did not. I'm really smart, and if I would have took that test and not passed, it would have probably deflated me.
I got you. Yeah, I learned to do taxes, pencil, paper. My first tax class was actually in college, and I had a tax attorney who was the teacher. So for me, I could within reason like go back to the stuff that he taught me. But yes, you were very correct. If you have somebody who maybe doesn't have that formal background, some of those bad habits and stuff may get them caught up when taking the exam. Uh, okay, so I knew that was going to be a question. I didn't want people sending me messages like, hey, can you see what Yvette took? I'm like, dang, I should ask that question. So thank you for answering that. Now, I want to go back to something else that you mentioned, though. when you said you were already doing the representation, but I picked up, you started doing taxes in 1989. You went full time in your business in 2006. Was that right?
Hmm.
So, what was the transition or light bulb for you that was like, hey, I can do this full time on my own?
When I came to Atlanta, because I was first had a brick and mortar in Nutley, New Jersey, but it was a side. It was a side. It was a side business. I
Mm-hmm.
knew I could do taxes. I was great at it, but I did operate as a full business with a brick and mortar. It just happened that the brick and mortar was across the street from a bus depot, so we had all the clients was across the street. So we did all of their taxes and made a living at it. But I had a job, and I was like, I'm not leaving my job because I got goals and I have children and I'm going to take care of them. And that's what I'm going to do because that's what you're taught. But when I came to Atlanta, so my boss was like, I'm going to Atlanta. I'm going to find you a job and bring you. And then, you never usually see them again. But 18 months later, he was like, I got a controller job for you. Come to Atlanta. So I came. But when I got here, ooh, they was not doing right by these business owners here. They did not know nothing about tax. Like when you have a simple conversation and I say to you, well, can you let me know how much money did you make in your business last year? And you can't tell me because you didn't know nothing that was on the tax return. Some business owners even have
Uh,
copies of their returns. Like it, and then the fact that they was doing this con where if you had a single member LLC and that's inside the personal return, what they were doing was separating them and telling them that the LLC with the Schedule C was a separate return. And then the personal return was the personal return and just charging them 2,500, 3,000.
is that where that originated? Because it throws me off so much when people are like, okay, well, I got a single member LLC. How much do you charge for the business? And I'm like, it's all together.
Yeah, it's all and they confused when you tell them that it's all together. And then I literally came with like I'm showing them, you see here on line 31. Okay, so line 31 carries over here on schedule one, and that's all in your personal return. This is one return. She just took this form, he or she has just took this form out and said it was a business return. It's not. You like it was a whole teacher moment. And it happened again and again and again and again. So I said, and then, God wave heavy on Yvette. You need to be out here because you making this company a lot of money and they not doing right. So I'm gonna need you to take all your talents and gifts and go out here and help real people. So that's what I did. But before I did that, my holdup was we had just moved to Georgia in 2011 and I had a mortgage. And I was like, I'm not leaving this job if I got a mortgage. I can't think about paying mortgage and paying rent. And so you're gonna have to make something happen. But
Mm-hmm.
literally we bought the house in 12 and I paid it off in 2017. But I didn't do what God told me to do and leave the job in 2017. I stayed until October 2018, and I swear He made them 9 months the worst 9 months of my life because I did not obey. So when God give you a vision, just do what He tell you and stop questioning it. Please don't. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. He
Okay.
made
Get
sure
out of
that I never
get out
want
of
to
my
go back to
business.
that job ever again. He made sure. He made sure of it.
It's not a job. I don't got a job, but I'm gonna need my guests to get out my driveway. So, you know Keisha Dawson Harris.
Hmm.
She was on here in June, and before we even start recording the part that we were supposed to share, I was telling her some things in my life that God was dealing with me about with my business as far as my business was concerned. And she shared some things that have been going on with her, and she was like, I call her my big taxes. So she said, "Little sis, when God tells you to do something, do it immediately. Do not wait." So fast forward 6 months later, some of us got to learn stuff the hard way. I didn't quite move fast enough because I didn't see clearly where I was supposed to move with certain things. And it became very clear last week. And I made a Facebook post in regard to that. I was like, hey, when God tells you to do something, like, do it. Stay in alignment, his timing. And she pops on there and says immediately, move faster. And I was like, you just told me that. And then here you come saying, look, when God tells you to do something. So if this podcast episode wasn't for nobody but me, look, my other tax sister came and told me, Timalyn, do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. All right.
Please do. Please don't be like Big Sis, because I didn't listen. In them 9 months, I suffered, and I was like, "Wow, why is like the cat, the dog, the cow jumping over the moon? What the heck?" It was all kind of stuff falling out the sky, and I was like, and then I just sat back and thought, I said, "Oh, I did not do what I was supposed to do. I gotta let me hurry up and do what I'm supposed to do and get the heck out of here and go forth and being great." And it's been amazing, like just amazing. I could say from October 2018 until now, I got the life that I always dreamed about, but never thought I was gonna have.
That's awesome. First, thank you for your transparency in sharing how uncomfortable you were, even though you probably thought that you were just keeping security for yourself, right? And then second, I can't just let you brush over that paying a mortgage off in 5 years because what that's a huge accomplishment. So kudos to you for that. Um, so thinking about that time frame, 2018, I know that for me, I started in this industry 2011, and around that time we were starting to get clients. And again, I'm big CPA firm, not where you can just like come in, but starting to get clients comfortable with using online technology. In 2018, as you're making this transition to go full time, what was your idea for what your firm would look like? Did you start using virtual tools? Was it all in person? What did that look like for you?
Oh, that is such a great question. Cause you know what? We was doing virtual taxes in '05 when it
Oh,
wasn't even a thing. I was doing taxes on Skype. I I'm telling I promise you, I never knew this is what happened. I wound up getting a contract with the government to do taxes, because remember they were paying for military families to have their taxes prepared.
okay.
And we realized, like, I did some research about how much taxes cost in California, and they were charging like this absorbent amount. And I was like, oh, I don't need that much. I could charge this and push California and get all those people in. Now we're getting people, but how I'm gonna do the taxes now? So because we didn't have secure portals and stuff like that in '05, not that I knew of. So we had people faxing stuff in, people were mailing stuff in. Like I was heavy into FedEx. Like, we're gonna send you a FedEx envelope. You're gonna put all your documents in it, close it up, and we send you an envelope to sign the paperwork and send it back to us, because we didn't have digital. I don't even think we had DocuSign yet back in
Mhm.
'05. And then we would meet on Skype. You would have the return with you. You already have paid for it, signed it. So we're going over the return, and I would go over line by line so they could see my face, so they would know that it wasn't, I don't know, whoever they had doing the return, because I thought that was important, that they would see that it was an actual person. And so that's why when it came time to start doing more, when it came out with secure portals, we already had all of that in place. Because remember, I left New Jersey, because I am from New York, but I was living in New Jersey and moved to Georgia. We already had at that time probably like 250 clients. How am I going to do their returns? So I had the secure portals. They already knew how to use it. And when I got ready to leave, what they didn't know, I knew ahead of time that I was leaving. So I had started testing it. Like, hey, instead of you coming to the office to get your stuff done, why don't you fax your W-2s in? Why don't you mail them down here? Let me come by your house and give you an envelope, and you can send it to the office. So I had prepared them before I had to give them the news that I was moving to Georgia. And really, probably from that move, we may have that first year, maybe 50 clients may not have came. So we had 200. But literally, like the next tax year, all 50 of them people were back. They were back. We still, like, now,
Gotcha.
even here in 2025, I still have what I call like the top 100, the people who have been with me since '05 as clients now to this day.
Wow, that's an amazing retention rate. 20 years, 20 years later. Um yeah, I was curious about that because I know that you aren't, some people get stuck where they're at locally. And I'm not saying like if you serve your local area, that's no diss to you. I think you should definitely have some roots where you're at. But I was like, that's not Yvette. So how did she do this? um, so yeah, we when I started out, we had a whole team that took care of that, and we had a whole floor that had paper documents that we had to copy and, like you said, get stuff overnighted for signatures and everything. So transitioning, you said you had 250 Jersey, moved to Georgia, you had 200. For you, when was that point when you were like, I need help, I can't do this myself? Because I think it's beautiful you have the example of like, hey, this was like a side thing because I had my job. And some people, um maybe God is telling them they need to leave too and they're uncomfortable. Or maybe right now they're just scared to bet on them. But they're like, okay, so should I leave my job or should I hire? What did that process look like for you in your journey?
Well, really, what it was that I just said I started because even when I was working, I started paying myself. I immediately became an S corporation and started paying myself because what I wanted to do was start increasing my salary to meet my salary,
You
keep
started paying
reducing the
yourself.
money from my business to meet the job. That's what I was doing. So when instead of when I, like let's say like year one, two, three, oh yeah, I got all the money. Then I was like, oh, I'm going on a trip. I'm going here. I'm going there. Then I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to be able to sustain this if I want to leave? How I'm going to do it? So literally, the changing point was when I came to Georgia. So said like 2012 when we got the house, I started paying myself on salary. So I might have started that first year. I was at the job and I was making six figures there, but I might have started paying myself 20. I remember starting at 25,000, and then every year I just started increasing it. So I was like, okay, well I'm doing 25. Let me do 50. Let me see what 75 look like. Even though at that point it was, yeah, I was paying more in taxes because I had two W-2s, but it was a purpose because I wanted to make sure I could now meet my salary, and then by the time it was time to leave, I could literally leave. But in my mind, when God said to leave in 2017, I literally just wanted to get through tax season and save all that money as a cushion. Now, I think if
Mhm.
I would have had left like April 2018, like what I had said, he probably wouldn't have made it so bad for me. But when I said, then I was like, well, I could just stay to the end of the year, and I could. Then that's when I think he really just got upset with me and just said, nah, this burden, mind you, to be transparent, the year before this, because 2017 is when I paid off the house, in April of 2016, me and my husband went on a trip to Egypt, and we were in a hot balloon crash. And I remember while the balloon was going down to the ground, I did not think about my husband, kids, or anything. I said, God, I know you're not going to let me die still being an employee. Yeah, just like that. So I
Wow.
know he was like, I done made all this girl dreams come true, and she's still there. Watch what I do. I know. That's why I said when God tell you to do something, just do what He tell you. I don't care what He say. Just do it. Just go ahead. Be scared. Do it scared. I don't care. Just do it.
So I love that you had a plan though and you had a purpose, because some people again listening may be like, well, how am I going to leave this job? You I want to point out you switched to the S corp, so you weren't taking distributions, owners distributions from a single member LLC. You were on payroll. Just want to make that distinction for the ones listening in the back. Um, with that though, so you were your first hire. When did you start hiring, or did you start hiring other people to prepare and or deal with clients for your firm as well?
Um. Okay. All of this happened. Well, once I went full time in my business in 18, the first thing I did was I got a company to answer all the phones who still answer the phones to this day. Four young ladies, they answer all the phones, make all the appointments because I can't. I only need to talk to people on the that's on the calendar.
Amen.
My son was already working in business. My son, who's now 17, he's been working in the business since he was 9. He's the one who's going to take over the business. So he's the one that I'm grooming right now and teaching. But I'm waiting until he turns 18 before he starts talking to clients. I'm just my own opinion. I'm gonna wait till he turns 18 before he starts actually speaking to clients and telling them tax stuff. Like, because he need a little more. I just mean he needs his whole voice to mature. When he gets on the phone. But my husband always helped me in the business. Like he always was in the back doing data entry, doing stuff. But then I was like, okay, well, you're working, but I need you to come work with me. So we got to work out something where you're going to be on salary too. So he started having his own clients. So then it was able for you to do individual. He does individual returns and small business returns like Schedule C's. So then I could concentrate on doing S corp returns and C corp returns. Because what I didn't mention is that when I worked with the CPA, that's all we did. We were doing corporation returns on paper before we even had e-file in 93.
Mm-hmm.
So I came from a background of doing corporate returns. I just started doing individual returns in '06 when I went and started doing my own business. Before that, I literally, like, for me, like, you always, people were paying. I never even knew people had refunds until '06, like, because corporation always pay. That's it.
Same. I didn't realize we had that in common. When I stepped out on my own when I left the CPA firm, people were like, "How do you not know how to do a 1040?" I said, "No, like," and that's one thing I thank God for. Like, I am a tax nerd. I ain't got no issue with reading the publication and instructions. I find it intriguing, but I was like, I don't. This isn't what I do. Like, I do partnerships, S corps, corporations. They may pull me over for some 990s, but 1040s. Code W in box 12. I don't know what that is, but I figured it out. I figured it out. Um, yeah, so that's cool. It's a completely different world. I tell people I went from people being happy to write a $60,000 check and that's all they had to write to people being like, I don't want to pay you because our refund went down by 500. And I'm like, I don't, what, where do they do this at? I don't understand.
And all those advanced loans, and I'm like, what is I like literally when I left the the CPA had some issues. So like in 2003, I went to work at H&R Block, and that's when I started. Like all the people was coming, they was getting 10,000. Like, oh, this is a thing. And then like that very first year, before the tax season was over, they were like, we need you to teach the class. Your skills level is way too much for these little return. We need you to do this. So I'm teaching. So I'm like, if I'm teaching here, that's why I was like, I need to just go open my own firm. Why am I teaching at this company when I could just open my own firm? And that's what I did. It took me like a year just to find out how, because, they were gatekeeping about
Mm-hmm.
getting the fingerprints so you could get the e-fin and do all of those things. I had to, like, hook, work, or crook, talk to a couple of people to find out what to do. So I could, like, literally, I had to call really how I found out, called the IRS. How can you become a preparer? Like, how can we know how can we get professional tax software? So I just started going, and all that time I was going to the IRS forums, but I was going as, hey, I work for this firm. I'm just here to get my CE credit. Oh, now I'm at H&R Block and I'm here going because I just want to get more continuing education credit. But I was never like visiting the booths like I should have to ask about starting my own business, getting my own EIN. It wasn't until the year that I decided I'm like, okay, I need my own business. And then I started asking questions, and I forgot what organization back then in '05 told me, oh no, all you have to do is get the card, the fingerprint card, and put your fingerprints on it, take it to the sheriff's department and send it in. But it's going to take 6 months. And it did. It took like about 6 months to get it back with the EFIN number and everything. And then I could buy professional software.
Ooh, I'm glad they sped up that time. But speaking of gatekeeping, some people are like, wow, oh, why you want to do that? That again, I'm gonna give you shout out here. Thank you for being here on this podcast because the articles I write, videos I do, people are like, why do you have someone on how to start an EA firm? It's like because if you don't have a certain type of background and even know where to look, I want to provide the information in something that's easy, palatable for people to understand. And the things that you shared so far, again, are in a way that are easy, palatable, and can be digested. Like somebody's light bulb just went off when you said, I start paying myself first. I became an S Corp. I start putting this money away. You over here beating me up, telling me when God tells me to do something, do it immediately. That's why you've been uncomfortable, Timlin. But you being transparent and willing to share, it is really God bless you for sharing your testimony because it's definitely going to bless listeners on here as well. Um, your husband's helping you, son is going to be taking over. You knew from being with the CPA you guys weren't doing representation resolution right. When did you start adding that to your firm? Because you are a very big people person, educator, and helping. So when were you like, yeah, we need to go ahead and help them with these notices and this representation work as well?
Okay, so I was during that time, all that time from '06 until then, I was still doing representation work, but it wasn't being done the right way. I was doing it the way I had been taught. That's why I became an EA. So I would be doing it correctly. And then I learned that it was like, oh, I got them doing this, but I could have been doing this if I was an EA. I was doing this, but I could have been doing something else if I was an EA. So it all led back to becoming an EA. Now, I know that there's people out here doing resolution that's not EAs, but that's not the intention. The intention is for you to have the credential to do so. And if you don't have the credential or you can't get the credential because you have some background issues or whatever the case may be, then hire an EA to have to be on your firm. That's always an option because there's people who are like talk about you don't have to be an EA, but sometimes not being transparent that they have background issues, the reason why they can't become EA. Not that they can't pass the exam, they just will pass the exam but won't pass the suitability test
Yes.
of the ones that I see that's complaining the most about becoming EAs. But um my whole thing was becoming an EA so I can represent people correctly, meaning that they're not supposed to be in the office with me. Um, I'm gonna leave that part there because the other stuff, like I said, I'm not going to divulge what we were doing because I know I live in Georgia. They'll be doing it tomorrow. If I said, "Hey, you know what you could really do is la 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 la," not going to divulge that part. But representing people correctly, meaning that they're living their best lives while I'm on the phone talking to the IRS and getting back to them, and just making sure that I'm taking care of them correctly. And that's why I just said I'm going to become an EA. When I went full time in my business in 18, I was like, the first thing on my list was become an EA. That's it. There was no other option.
Yeah, and I like that you made that distinction because my academic nerd hat coming on, people will say representation, resolution, there's no difference. I was like, technically, no, technically, yes. Anybody can do resolution because that's the paperwork. I said, but representation is the whole substitute. The analogy you used, I've calmed their fears. My clients living their best life while I'm dealing with the person doing the appeal. Clients living their best life to a certain extent, and I'm working on this offer and compromise that they got to sign and get this lump sum for. If we in here, like it's teamwork, but yeah, you're not supposed to be in here with me on the phone with me. Like again, you call that resolution, that's not representation. It's two
Yes.
different things.
They're doing
And
resolution, but it's not being done correctly. And if I have to be taken, if I'm just saying as a client, if I had to be taken off of work to be coming to the office just so we could contact the IRS, why do I have you? At this point, you basically teaching the client how to resolve their own problem. So if they have a problem again, they don't need you. The
listen,
expertise, they're supposed to be paying for your expertise, the expertise of the fact that you solve tax problems. That's it.
and the fellas and girlies like to tussle. So, like you said, I'm gonna leave that right there. Just wanted to make that distinction though, because look, God's got me. I don't got beef with nobody. I'm gonna go secure my bag. Moving along. So fast forward, uh, you did that in 2018. You passed everything in 2020. We were in a few of the same communities, but we hadn't met in person yet. So in 2020, that is when I joined Uncle Mike with Raw Strategies for the marketing. So we crossed paths there. And then also being members of NAEA, we went and supported uh I guess you just gave your age, so she'd be your little Texas, your Texas, my big Texas, your Texas, Keisha, when she was
Mm,
the president of the Florida Society of Enrolled Agents. We had a good time, ate good,
sure
learned
did.
good. It
Hmm.
was
Learned
amazing.
about a Dega because I didn't know about a Dega. I found out y'all went. I've been going to Dega ever since because I go to Florida all the time. I've
Look,
been going
that's
to
the
Dega ever since.
best Brazilian steakhouse I've ever been to, and I've been sharing it like the gospel good news. I feel like I need an affiliate link. But so Uncle Mike 2020, 2020, was it 21 or 22 when we were in Florida the first time?
I think that was 21. I want to say 21 when we was in Florida because that was when Krista did her event because we went to Florida first and then we went to Krista event at the end of the year. So I think that
Okay.
was all 21.
So yeah, we saw each other in June in Orlando for the Florida Society of Enrolled Agents, and we saw each other at the Tax and Accounting Summit. Which again, I thank you for your gift of encouragement because I got up, I presented on something I taught on the first day. And then somebody got up after me a little bit after and said, almost like they were behind me being as successful as I was, because I'll leave that alone because your New York was coming out that day. I'll leave that alone. But you pulled me to the side and you were like, don't let anybody take credit for what you've done. I see you working. I see where you're going to go. And I was like, she may know me from a few cans of paint, but not like that. But to pull me aside, look me in the eyeballs, and say, hey, you've got this. And don't you ever let anybody discredit for the hard work that you've done and where you've got you. I was like, okay, I like it. I can mess with her. But that's been
I have
consistent.
always gave you the words of encouragement. I gave you the words of encouragement that I wish somebody would have gave me because I promise you, I was not given the words I was always told to be a help mate all the time. Like, oh, Yvette, writing well is going to be your best revenge, which is true. And when these men don't know nothing, but you're going to be the scribe, and everywhere they go, the scribe has to go too. And that was just like how my whole career worked. But that was meant that my voice was supposed to be quiet. I was supposed to be the ghostwriter in the back, and I didn't like that at all. I did it, but I didn't like it.
And I truly thank God for those times that, again, we saw each other in person. You were like, head up, forget him, keep moving forward. Because nobody else, even, well, no, Lysandra was side eyeing. There were other people that caught it, but you were like, keep going, keep going. But I said, I'm going somewhere with this. 2020, Uncle Mike, we connect. I think we did the tax and accounting summit as well. And we had set some goals for our firms for tax representation. And I was so happy to see like you go to higher ranks within that community and reach some of those goals. And that's where again I let some people be like, "Oh, Timalyn, you do virtual and do this, that." I'm coming, Yvette. Um, for you with representation, you transition from not doing it right to doing it correctly. The question that I often get is, how did you get the confidence to represent people and then to charge accordingly for representing people?
Oh, because I'm the prize. I said it. I said it. I was like, I'm the prize. The blessing is so when you said to me that you felt God sent you to me, the blessing is you get to work with me. I don't I don't go out picking and choosing. Oh, please pick me to do your taxes. Let me do your taxes. No, it's a honor to work with me, because
Mhm.
nobody's not going to care about you, because it's not what's in it for me. Really, I know when 2018 came, and I was what I was fighting against is that God told me that I had to help people do better for me to be able to do better. That my blessings was going to come from literally making other people rich. I didn't want to do that. I was like, I want to be, I don't know what I wanted to be. I thought I wanted to be famous, but now I realize I just wanted the money so I could be able to have generational wealth for my family. But it took a while to get to that point. I thought I wanted to be famous, knowing that I'll be wanting to be inside all the time. I don't know how I was going to be famous and be inside all the time. But that was it. That was the point, that I just said, I really know that people need to put in their spirit that they are the prize, the person working with you the one who knows what to do if you're doing the right thing. So you are the prize. So I have no problem with saying my price with my chest. And you could take it or leave it. I could get enough no's to get to the yes. And even the people who tell me no, somehow you always circle back. it of all the people you talk to, and you may have said no to 10 different people, I was the no that you may have said no 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, but turn right around and be here like, yeah, I know I talked to you, but yeah, I got my money together now. And it's fine. And if they pick somebody else, they come back then too. Like, yeah, he told me a price that was like half of yours, but yeah, I got half. No, I got like 1/4 of what you told me you was gonna do. That's it. You the prize. That's it. The prize is you. The blessing is that they get to work with you. If you put that into your spirit, if you got to write it on a piece of paper, read it every day. I don't care what you do. Um, I don't like to say manifestations, but affirmations for yourself to do better. Do not be afraid, and don't be afraid of the when you call them on the phone and talk to the IRS too, because that's also a skill set. A lot of people don't do representation because they scared of the IRS more than the darn clients. So I'm gonna need you to be able to get that together, because I don't want people coming in a resolution and then letting the ROs just run all over them, because you come across some of them are nice and they doing the right thing, but some of them just, I don't know what be wrong with them. Like, they don't like their job. I always say everybody doesn't like their job. So yeah, please make sure that every day you wake up, whoo, it's a blessing to work with me. Let's see who will take this blessing today.
I love that. And going back really quick, you mentioned talking to the ROs and how that's a skill set. I don't think people realize that. Like, if everybody could talk to the IRS, we wouldn't have a job.
It's
Like, you have to have people skills as well as the technical tax law as well to be able to do representation work. And that takes reps. Like, you're not going to have it right the first time. So thank you for pointing out that skill set. But I will even say, I think it was 2, 3 weeks ago, I sent you and someone else a message because I had somebody that owed a certain amount, and I'm like, okay. And I'm sharing this just to be transparent because sometimes people think I got it all together, I got it all right too. I just share my experience and hope it helps you. I don't have everything all together and perfect. I said, I see this is what I would charge for this, and this doesn't seem like additional work. So why should this be more? And you all help me understand the method of pricing. And I forgot to come back around to you all. The client did actually pay down about 120 of it,
nice.
but with my chest, I gave them the price that you all told me I should based on what the new thing was. And they said, cool, can we break it into 2 payments? So sometimes it's not even that you aren't saying it with your chest, it's having the people with in your community to make sure you're saying the right thing with your chest.
True.
You mentioned going to Georgia, there being scammers. You also mentioned coming from somebody that wasn't doing things right. How did you find that community to help you say stuff with your chest, but also the confidence that you were saying the right thing with your chest?
Okay, so I love Uncle Mike. And when you part of the founders mastermind with him, you have these half an hour talks, but they never was a half an hour. I mean, like he was on the phone with me for like a whole hour, and we just talk. And he's from New York too, so we talking, and we're just explaining things. And he was really asking a lot about my background, and I really seen that the reason why he was asking a lot about my background to see what could spark inside of me for me to go forth, because I was having struggle with my pricing. I was pricing based on, oh, I could just do this in a minute, so this doesn't mean nothing to me, so I'm gonna charge this little amount. He like, no, just because you could do it, that's because you've been studying 20,000 years to do this. He's like, no, Yvette, no, that's not it. How you gonna feed your family? He's like, are you gonna be able to feed your, and like he knew I had a granddaughter. He was like, can you feed? And he knew her name. Like, can you feed London with that money? And I'm like, wow. Ooh, you can, like, why you gotta get all deep like that? He skipped right over my son and went straight to my grandparent, straight to my granddaughter. Like, how you gonna be able to pay for London's college if you keep paying, if you just do this little bit of money? So it's like, okay. And then he did not want me doing tax preparation. We still fight over that because I love taxes and I'm going to do tax preparation. I don't care what he say. But what I did do was one year I got rid of 100 clients to give me the availability to be available to do tax resolution, and I'm glad that I did that. But I'm still always going to be doing tax resolution. I mean tax preparation. He not going to break me out of that. He want to, but he isn't going. Every time he'd be like, well, how many clients you got now? I'll be like, I told you I only got 200 clients, like you told me. Now, and I'm sticking to that I have 200 clients.
Yes, shout out to Uncle Mike because he definitely people talk about value pricing, but sometimes we don't value stuff the way that we should because it's not as valuable to us, or we discredit the value that we bring to people. And if you all don't know Mike Rosbrook, he is very cutthroat, straight to the point. This is business. Um, and he helped me realize too, like you said, I can get nine no's, but that 10th one is all I need. Sometimes in business, as we're building this EA firm, whether it's tax prep, tax representation, we take stuff personally and it's just business. Get out of my mental real estate so I can move on to the next thing. And I think that transition is hard sometimes too for people who do really well with tax preparation because it's a commodity. Everybody needs it. Whereas over here with tax representation, people get to choose. So we get in our feelings like, oh, nine people tell me no. I can't tell you the last time I've had that many people tell me no in a row. But when it starts getting big, and for me, I'd say big is like maybe three, four. Like you said, I can almost count when they're going to come back. But I also know something big is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
And I
way
needed
the
those
numbers
no's. Yep, I needed those no's to make room for that big yes, because
the
that just
way
happened
the
to me.
numbers work, somebody is coming and they got their money ready now. They about to be like, I saw you on Google, this, that. And I'm not even going to have to sell myself to them.
Like literally, I was getting cases. All these people had like CP 2000 notices, and I was like, okay, we could take care of this. And I'm telling them, okay, here, and they were like, oh, that's too much, that's too much. And then literally, I promise you, it was like call number 7. This lady owed like 300 and something $1,000 and needed to do an offer in compromise, and their passport was not. They took her passport.
Mhm.
Like I could not have done all those. Yeah, I was glad to get rid of all those little cases because here she came, and now I got a whole $30,000 fee. That was way more than all them five. It wasn't even as much as those 5 cases together. Them 7 calls wouldn't have made that $30,000. And I needed the time to go through all her stuff to, because we do all the financials and all. Yeah, that takes time to complete that OIC package and have it looking just right for the person that gets it to be like, yay, I got me a I got me a winner, and we gonna get some money.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what the ROs do. That's what I just feel like the tax examiner does that. When they see it, they like, we about to get paid. They be happy, rubbing their hands together too.
Yes, it's the reps. It's the like keep going. People are like, man, I made one post, nobody responded. And I'm like,
You gotta
I
post of
target
activity.
people that owe 100,000 or more. I know nobody's gonna respond because who's like, woohoo, I owe 100,000. I said, you start seeing the calendar book up, you get excited. Like you said before, I'm the prize. Like I have the answer to their problem. I'm getting on this call with confidence because I know I can help them. And if I get a no, that's cool. Maybe I'll remember to hit the button to follow up. Maybe I won't because I got more calls coming. I got money on the way.
Yes, that's just what it is. And the thing about it is, I do follow up with people. So like when they call, like, hey, you know, we couldn't work together, but you know, if you need to reach out, this is how you can reach out to me. And I wish you the best of luck in everything that you do. And even that one follow up can be enough for that person to be like, wait a minute, because you know, once they done went through all, you know what? Where's that young lady number at stuff? I know she sent me an email and call you right back.
Mm-hmm.
I always say money is in the follow up. And sometimes
Absolutely.
when it comes to resolution, I feel like sometimes they need at least like maybe 5 touches if they said no. But you just space them out. You don't have to just email them to death. You can send them something this month, send them something next month, once a month. I'm telling you, because 9 out of 10, if they have tax problems, if they ain't solving with you, and you know that you are the person, they didn't go to nobody else. They still holding on to it. They probably still
Right.
holding on to them unopened letters.
What you said, hey, I just want to check in and see if you still have that problem. If you do, I'm about to have limited availability. You might want to move now.
Yep.
Yvette, I know we've been here a minute, and there's still stuff that I could ask. Before we get to our final question, is there anything that you would want to share with somebody who is looking to become an EA, but maybe they are scared of making that jump to starting their own firm and doing the representation work?
One, I want them to take a full accountability of themselves and their skill set, because being able to negotiate cases, you can learn. It's not like you can't learn it. So I can't say you have to be born with that skill set. You can learn the study the IRM, or at least be able to access the areas that you need to know to negotiate your case with the revenue officer or revenue agent or tax examiner. But you first got to know where you are, so you can say, okay, I'm just starting. I might need scripts to help me when I get on the phone, so I know exactly what I'm saying when I talk on the phone. um Also, don't be afraid to invest in yourself, because it's you got to invest in you. And I think that's besides the problem of getting in their own way, number two is they don't want to invest in themselves. I don't get it, because I'm the greatest thing that I can be. So I mean, if I can't lose investing in me, so I
Mm-hmm.
can't see that. So, and then go ahead and do it. Please do not wait for perfect. Perfect is this thing that everybody wants, but and when you on, it's only perfect on social media. That's it. But you don't know that how many hours it took them to get to that perfect video. They don't care about perfect. They just want to see. You do not have to have perfect reels, all of the stuff. Really the better ones is when you just being you.
Right.
That you just, they show that you have a human side to you just like everybody else. Because sometimes being all authoritative and being all of that turn people off. Like I don't want this guy looking down on me, or this lady looking down on me, telling me what I did wrong. And a lot of times, and I talk to people on the phone, like they were like, "Please don't judge me." And I'm like, we ain't judging nobody over here. We're not doing that. That's You don't know anything about taxes. So if you owe and you can't even tell me why you owe, that means that was the tax professional's fault, because you should at least know why you owe.
Mm-hmm. Love that. For your personal journey, if there is anything that you could change, what would that one thing be?
I always said that I would change, that I would have became an EA first sooner or started my own firm sooner, but my life journey, everything happened just the way it was supposed to. Is nothing that I would do different because I have four children, the things that was involved with that, um things that I was going through in my own life, getting more education, all of those things that I wanted to do. I really think that everything happened the way it was supposed to. Even when I did not do what God told me to do, I needed to I needed to see. Sometimes sometimes a hard head makes a soft behind. So sometimes you need to see, so you know that the next time you're given the word, you will do exactly what you're supposed to do. That was it. Yeah, I just really feel like everything happened the way it's supposed to. I always was saying, like, everybody asks, you always say, "Oh, I had a regret. Oh, I think I should have started sooner. I should have went and got my firm sooner." No, everything went in just the way it was supposed to, and I did need that lesson, because that was a good lesson he taught me. And I promise you, he tell me anything, I'm just moving immediately to what he tell me to do.
Well, again, thank you for sharing some of your lessons with us because we don't have to take the bumpy road. Sometimes, like I said, folks will be like me. Sometimes we got to learn the hard way. But with the things that you shared today, it's definitely going to be a blessing to some of the listeners. If people want to connect with you on social media or follow you, because you were doing stuff in Georgia, you've been a contributor to some books. If they want to stay in the know with Yvette, how can they do that?
Oh, they can always reach out to me on LinkedIn or Facebook. My name is Yvette D Best on both of those platforms. People inbox me all the time, so don't feel like you can't inbox me to ask me questions, because I'm have no problem with sharing, even techniques, things to help you do better with cases or lead you to the direction of somebody who's going to help you do better. But please be, I would just always tell you, if it's something that you're going into new, get you a coach to shorten your span. I would not be as great in resolution without my coach.
I didn't pay her to say that, you all. And I'm not her coach. And I tell you all, it doesn't have to be me, but go get the help you need. Yvette has offered to help you all to a certain extent. I don't, are you offering coaching services?
No, because
Okay.
I
I
don't
just
want to
want to
coach
make,
tax professionals. I want to coach. I coach business owners. Like, everybody wants me to become a business coach, but I just want to be a tax strategist that help businesses grow. I do not want to do business coaching. Like, everybody think I should be doing motivational speaking and all these things. I just feel like my life story taught through tax will make people better, and that's what I'm sticking with.
but I was giving clarification. So I'm not Yvette's coach. I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be me. Get the help you need. But just as Yvette said earlier, there comes a point where you have to invest in yourself. So whether it's me, there are some other good representation tax coaches. Now, of course, there's only one America's Favorite EA, and there's only one How to Start an EA Firm group. But bet on you. That's what you're doing when you get that coach, is you're betting on you. Yvette, again, thank you so much for helping us wrap up the year, this first season of the podcast. I appreciate you being here.
No problem. Thank you so much. I was honored to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to share, because I love to share my knowledge. So, man, and don't you just keep you gonna do exactly what God tell you to do. Don't worry. I'll be and I'll be when you have your little ribbon cutting, I'll come out there again, come and support you.
Yes, ma'am. So, for the listeners, let us know in the comments what your favorite part of the episode is. If you're interested in joining my mentorship program, I will leave the information down in the comments below. And I'll see you next week at 8 p.m. Eastern for episode 25, which will be the last episode of 2025. Bye now.